Well, hello. My name is Cathy, and I am excited to be here today. I wanted to take some time today to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about my story. So, I'm looking down at notes on occasion just to make sure I kind of stay on track and don't lose sight of the fact of where I'm at. So, I wanted to go ahead and tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, I'm a wife. I'm married to my best friend, Dennis. We are close to celebrating our 39th wedding anniversary, high school sweethearts, and raised three wonderful sons, Mark, Matt, and James. And they are now all grown. We're empty nesters, and they are all living their lives outside of our home. Pretty fun to be a parent and watch them grow up and watch them find their way in life. Our oldest son, Mark, is married, and then the other two have wonderful girlfriends. So it's really fun. I am also Grandma Cathy, so that's really fun. I have two beautiful, creative, talented, each different and individualistic in their own way. It's really fun to go ahead and watch these girls grow. And I was blessed after having three boys, I finally have girls in the family. So it's really fun to be able to watch them grow. Professionally, I am working at a corporate 100 company. I am celebrating my 30th year there. And all of my corporate career has been growth and on-the-job training. And so it's really been interesting now that I can reflect back on years and years, watching me go ahead and grow in different areas of the company. I learned a lot about learning and development and became a learning and development professional, human-centered training. And now I'm actually managing the corporate-wide orientation or enterprise-wide orientation for my Fortune 100 company. So it's really been fun to go ahead and gain all those skills. I wrote it down in my notes here that I absorbed as much learning that I could through conferences, through webinars, through books. Definitely love learning and love my own self-development. And so in addition to my full-time job, I own my own business. And as far as I could remember back, all of my side hustles that I've done or all of my extra things I've done, I've always done. I've always done something. Even when I was raising my kids, I was volunteering in the PTA or their sports organizations or something like that. And then as the kids grew older and became adults, I started doing all of these side hustle businesses. And I have done 6 because I was really searching for my passion at that time. And so not that I didn't love the world of direct sales, because I did like that at that time. I knew there was something more for me. I knew that I wanted to be my own solo entrepreneur, my own business owner. And so this year and last year, I started developing into that. And then eventually now came upon this business through my experiences, which I'll tell you in just a bit. So my business that I finally figured out, and you're in the Cancer Caregiving group or a caregiving page, I found out that I wanted to be a servant leader business and truly helping people through their experiences and being a servant leader to them. How that evolved is, unfortunately, but now I take it as a blessing as well. I became a cancer caregiver in September of 2017. Feels like just yesterday, and it's actually, now I'm thinking about it, 2020. Holy cow. I didn't know what to expect. And then I also didn't apply for this or didn't ask for this title of being a caregiver. After my husband received his diagnosis of cancer, I jumped right into caregiving mode. I always like to tell people, when you're a caregiver, you don't get any training, you don't get any skills or this big manual to help you with. You just have to jump into caregiving mode and figure it out as you go. Kind of like in my career, I did the on-the-job training. I reflect back on that first week, and that first week was really getting through that initial news and that initial shock. All those emotions that came with it. After that, I went into action mode and just drove into it and said, you know what? I got to be a caregiver. I got to figure this out. I reworked my schedule. I made up time. At the time that Dennis was diagnosed with cancer, I had projects on my plate. I had deadlines to meet. And so I was working early mornings and evenings to try to go ahead and get those projects under control. I was blessed enough to have a company that had a caregiving leave, which I took advantage of on those longer days where like he had surgery or we had, multiple doctor's appointments and stuff like that. So I was able to take the time off. But it always plummeted because I always had projects and deadlines to meet. And so I was finding myself getting up early in the morning and staying up late at night, because in addition to my full-time job, I also had my side business that I was running. Actually transitioned into two, but I was actually doing a direct sales job in 2017 and then was starting my other business in 2018, but I was working extra on nights of that. And then you also have your household chores, the wash, the dishes, the vacuuming, whatever you had to do, you had to keep up with that as well. So about a month after that, I realized I was dog tired. I was finding myself missing things and missing deadlines and forgetting things because I was feeling so overwhelmed and so, tired, but I knew and thought I had to keep going. I didn't know any other way. I just had to kind of keep going and trust that maybe things would kind of work itself out. Well, a month later, I was feeling the same way again, just exhausted and overwhelmed, but I also found myself being angry, resentful, mad at the world of the whole process. Then I finally realized I had to address something. I had to figure this out because I couldn't keep going on the way I was going on. And so it was something I had to really figure out. I didn't want to quit my job. I didn't want to give up my business. But everything kind of aligned that way, because how in the world am I going to do now? If you think about it, you have your job, and then now you have this additional job of caregiving. How can you go ahead and figure this all out? I was spinning out of control, and I was very, very, very much, I was very, very good at putting up this front, this smiley face. I was really kind of lying to myself about the whole situation. That's when I said, downright, at that time, I think I took the day off. I slept in because it was so exhausted. And then I just dedicated the rest of the day to saying, how in the world am I going to figure this out? I have to start with some sort of plan of attack. Being a businesswoman, I have to figure this out. I have to manage it like I did when I managed the call center. I have to manage this and I have to figure it out, because I have to figure out what's best for me, but then I also have to figure out what's best for Dennis. And so I had to go ahead and figure that out. From there then, after really tons and tons of reworks and challenges and learning opportunities and serious reflections of it, I figured it out after 25 months of caregiving. Yeah, Dennis had two different types of cancer. So we had cancer treatment, observation, remission, and then we thought we were done with it. And then he had cancer diagnosis, treatment, and then now he's in observation mode again. So we'll see what happens. But I learned about who I am and how important my identity is to me. And it is important to me to be the best wife and to be the best caregiver. I had to do things that sparked me, kept me um, kept me happy and passionate, not content, happy and compassionate and passionate about my dreams and my goals and my career without losing my identity. I had to strip away those stereotypes, those opinions, those beliefs, those critics that were talking in my head, and really thinking about caregiving. And I put on here those stereotypes of caregiving being a time you had to quit your passions and socializations and health. You don't have to quit those if you don't want to. What you need to do is figure out what's best for you. So as my business evolves now, you will see words and phrases because I want to share this with any women out there who are caregivers right now that are career oriented, goal oriented, motivated to go ahead and continue their passions and identity, but also take care of their spouse. They love their spouse. They want what's best for their spouse, but they can't do that unless they go ahead and look at themselves first and figure out how they're going to do it. So in my business, you're going to hear things like care leader instead of caregiving. You're going to hear things like caregiver CEO mindset, sustainability, and finding my way to a better caregiving experience for me and my spouse. So you're going to hear things like that as my business evolves. And so as I'm growing this business and getting ready to launch some resources for you as wives out there caregiving your spouse with cancer, it's going to be an exciting time. So I hope you follow me. I hope you go ahead and look at my free giveaways and eventually some free webinars that I'm going to have, and consider this as maybe a way of thinking through and helping you cope with your caregiving journey. So have a good rest of the day and let me know your thoughts and your opinions, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.